Since Mass Effect exploded onto the RPG scene back in 2007, the series has become one of the most beloved modern examples of the sci-fi role-playing genre, as each entry takes players on a lengthy tour of the series' intriguing narrative, unique galactic setting, and diverse cast of characters. While many were left unsatisfied with the conclusion of the trilogy's arc at the end of Mass Effect 3, there is no question that this series remains one of the most exciting and ambitious games in the modern era. Now, BioWare is entering crunch time to complete Mass Effect Andromeda, an all-new story with a new protagonist and a vast open world for players to explore. In this video, we at GVMERS look back at the storied history of the franchise in preparation for the upcoming release of Andromeda. BioWare has long been known as a skilled developer of Western RPGs, such as the classic Baldur's Gate games set in the Dungeons & Dragons universe. But it was the developer's smash hit Star Wars RPG Knights of the Old Republic that was drawn on most heavily for inspiration for his original new universe in the first Mass Effect. Incorporating previous elements like 3D environments, a galactic map where players can travel in their starship, and complex relationships among the player character and his party members, Mass Effect looked poised to finally deliver on the promise of a unique sci-fi RPG based on an original IP. When the game finally hit, it mostly fulfilled its promises, introducing players to the epic conflict between the forces of Commander Shepard and the galaxy's peaceful races and the mysterious Reaper invaders. The game also provided satisfying RPG mechanisms and an enjoyable romp exploring the galaxy. While the game had its fair share of glitches, it was all in all a brilliant game by all accounts, getting gamers hooked on the Mass Effect universe and teasing a storyline that would only get deeper in games to come. BioWare was now faced with the difficult task of following up on one of the best-received RPGs of its generation as it prepared to release Mass Effect 2 in 2010. To achieve that end, BioWare made the decision to increase the second game's emphasis on combat and real-time action. While the first game's shooting mechanisms were solid enough, BioWare wanted Mass Effect 2 to be an experience that rivaled the best third-person shooters of the day, RPG elements aside. On this level, Mass Effect 2 succeeded, providing more tactical options and an addicting cover shooter feel that players could approach in multiple different ways, depending on their character's class and equipment. But the story was no slouch either, as Mass Effect 2 gave players more complex relationships among Commander Shepard and the crew of the USS Normandy. The game even allowed players to import progress and characters from the first game, giving the difficult decisions of who would live and who would die that much more weight, and lending both games a real sense of tension throughout. The game also deepened some of the series' RPG aspects while simultaneously attempting to smooth over some of the first game's rough edges by providing more intuitive interfaces. Allowing players more choices in dialogue to affect Shepard's morality rating and make major changes in the game's storyline, the game gave a real sense of player agency in the battle against the mysterious elusive man, the Collectors, and the Reapers.
Know this as you die in vain. Your time will come. Your species will fall. Prepare yourselves for the arrival.
One thing is for sure. When the credits ran at the end of Mass Effect 2 for millions of gamers around the globe, players were foaming at the mouth to find out what happens at the end of the Mass Effect trilogy's story arc. As gamers got ready to dig into Mass Effect 3, EA offered gamers another look at Cerberus and its operatives with Mass Effect Infiltrator, a third-person shooter for mobile platforms. As with the series' other mobile game, Galaxy, Infiltrator is mostly recommended for die-hard fans of the series wanting to know more about the Mass Effect universe, though it's a solid shooter in its own right. Finally, gamers got their hands on Mass Effect 3 in March of 2012, after a long string of tantalizing trailers and previews over the preceding years. Building on the gameplay and story of Mass Effect 2, the game allowed players to see how the war with the Reapers concluded, opening with a breathtaking level showing the Reapers descending on Earth in an all-out assault. As all hope looks lost, Shepard embarks upon a quest to build a secret weapon, unite the races of the Galactic Council, and finally launch a counterattack on the Reapers, devastating the galaxy. The game also introduced a multiplayer component that allowed players to fight back against the Reapers in skirmishes throughout the galaxy. Skirmishes whose outcome could help improve a player's chances against the deadly alien race in the single-player campaign. While the game was just as good, if not better, than its predecessors in terms of gameplay, many gamers took issue with the game's final moments, in which Shepard is offered a simple set of choices that didn't seem to take into account the player's various actions and unique morality leading up to that point. In response to fan outcry, BioWare patched the game with an extended cut DLC that attempted to address the most grievous of these complaints. Without a doubt, however, the Mass Effect trilogy became one of the biggest and most significant sci-fi RPGs of all time, lending a sense of hype and anticipation to the all-new Mass Effect Andromeda coming next year. While not many details are known about Andromeda, we do know the game will incorporate similar elements such as special biotic powers, unique human and alien tech to play with, and an intense story spanning the Andromeda galaxy. Allowing players to customize their hero and board a new starship dubbed the Tempest, the game will open the galaxy up to become a fully explorable open world, as opposed to the somewhat linear approach in games past. The player's character, a male or female named Ryder, will explore planets in the all-new setting using the Mako vehicle. As long as BioWare focuses on the strengths of the series, exciting action-based combat, strong characters with interesting relationships, and epic storytelling with wild twists and turns, Mass Effect Andromeda should be another massive hit. Until then, for all things Mass Effect, keep it locked to gamers.